I have a confession to make. When I first started this channel, my very first video, I go through and I find an idea that sounded interesting, and then I kind of fleshed that idea out a bit in that video. And I actually really liked the idea I came across, thought it was a pretty cool idea, thought I would actually write it and document it here on this channel. Well, I failed. I originally thought that I could do this in a week because AI had really helped my process. And I thought, well, if I could get this done in a week, wouldn't it be so cool if I could release a video saying, hey, I wrote a book in a week? Obviously, I failed. Now, I will say that given my track record so far using these tools, I do think that I could have done it, written 50, 60, or even maybe 70,000 words in a week if I had had all 40 hours of the week of a standard working week to do it. But I didn't have that. I have a day job, I have a family, and the most I could really afford to devote to it was about 2 hours a day or 10 to 12 hours a week. And that simply wasn't enough to do it. And then I found myself getting sidetracked with a bunch of other little projects. I had some different versions of other past books that I had released, like dyslexia versions and large print versions that I was publishing. I had the children's book that I did here on the channel that I was producing and publishing. And I just wasn't getting around to this other book idea. And I eventually realized I didn't want to do it. I wasn't that interested. I had made it about 10 chapters into it, and I was just not interested in going back. And so it made me think, was this because of the AI that I wasn't interested in this, or was there another reason? Thankfully, I don't think this was the AI or working with AI that kind of took the fire out of it for me. I think it comes down to one simple reason. This wasn't really my idea. This was an idea invented by the AI that I thought, that might be cool. I'll give that a try. But it wasn't mine. And while I do think there are people out there who don't care about the idea necessarily, they'll just take whatever and they will run with it. They're more interested in writing to market or just producing something that people like or in the actual craft of writing. For me, writing is all about the ideas and the crafting and the plotting and creating these characters. It's all about that creation part of it for me. And given that this was an idea that didn't originate with me, I think that was the reason why I found myself a little lackluster when it came to this. I have to work on an idea in my brain for a little while before I get excited enough to actually write about it. When it comes to the actual writing, I am happy to do that with AI and find it exhilarating to do so. Which brings me to my next point, and that is what actually is a realistic timetable for creating a book with AI. I've told you that I think I could have done it in 40 hours, but that would have been a packed 40 hours, and that is just writing the prose. That wouldn't have included any of the prep work. That wouldn't have included my second or third pass at editing. Mostly what that included was creating the story beats that so that I could generate the text using AI, and then my first pass to really clean that up and take care of the more egregious AI writing aspects to clean that up. So it was a clean first draft. And I would have needed in after the first week, after those 40 hours, to also continue working on a second edit, a third edit, and so on. But this is actually pretty incredible to think that in What I found in my, but that was just my process. In speaking to a lot of authors, I've heard all kinds of things all over the place for how long it takes them to write. And I think I'm a little bit on the faster end of things. Maybe I don't have as much of a as high of a standard as some other authors do, but I think many authors will actually take a lot longer in creating that first draft than I would. I still think that with some practice, you can get faster and faster. In fact, I know for myself that I was getting faster and faster, and that I was able to pump out about one 3,000 word chapter in an hour to an hour and a half. And if you can do that, like if you can spare an hour to 2 hours every day, and you're getting, a minimum of one chapter done a day, that's a book in a month. And it's absolutely incredible that that is possible using AI to write a book, at least a first draft of a book, in a month in only just a spare hour or two of your time. And there are probably ways that you could maximize that time as well. Now, of course, you have to factor in the editing, the formatting, getting a book cover, all of the marketing that goes into writing this book and everything. It's not all about the writing, although the writing is certainly a big part of it. There is a lot more time that goes into a book than just the writing, which is another reason I might add why I don't think that the truly terrible books are going to do very well on Amazon, and they will all sink to the bottom, letting the quality books, including books written by AI that have been edited to perfection by authors, those books are going to rise to the top because the authors are willing to put in the work, not just in the writing, but also in the marketing. Now, everything I've been talking about so far is applied to fiction books, and usually those tend to hover around, at least in my genre, around 60 to 75,000 words. And if you write books that are shorter than that, especially if you write something like nonfiction or romances or anything that's extremely formulaic, those books are going to probably take you even less time, especially if the average word count is 40 to 50,000 words or so. And I will talk in a future video about ways that you can write an entire book in a matter of days, maybe even one day if you spend the entire day on it. And these aren't really long books, but they're still what I would call a book, still a solid product that you can release. And AI makes that possible. And I will talk more about that in a future video. And I will talk to you about that in actually tomorrow's next video. So, with all that said, what am I doing about this first book that I started writing in my very first video, which I have come to call The Omnimancer? I have decided that I am not going to be continuing it at this time. I simply lost interest in it, and there are many other ideas that are mine that I would very much like to do and work on. And so, for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to be working on that. But I am going to be working on at least 3 other projects. I'm going to be writing a book. Well, I'm going to be working on 3 other projects, including 2 novellas, one that's going to be written by Claude and the other using ChatGPT straight up, no pseudo-write. And then I'm going to be continuing my Fairy Queen series. I've written 4 books there, so I will be working on the 5th book, and I'll be doing that using pseudo-write. And you can check out my playlist on using pseudo-write for more information on that book and what is going to be coming down the pipeline for that. I'm really sorry if any of you were really looking forward to reading The Omnimancer. Rest assured, you will be able to get a good look at my process and be able to read books written with AI in the near future. I just couldn't continue with this one. And so I'm really sorry, and I hope you do like the books that I am a lot more passionate about and will definitely devote a lot more time to get right simply because I am more interested in it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.